Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Chili Games, and this might look a little bit different. This is not War of the Warships Legends. I have actually been using my buddy who I'm living with. He has a PC, and we recently downloaded the PC version of the game, and I've had a little bit of extra time, and I figured out, you know what? Like, I really, I've always wanted to play PC, or at least try it. So here we are, and we've grinded all the way to the Pensacola. Actually, by the time of this recording, I just got New Orleans, and I've had really good games in it. To be honest, it feels much better than the Pensacola. And boy, uh, I think I think the PC version is pretty fun. Something to note about this game is it's pretty boring. So in terms of like fun and engaging, this is probably not it. But I think it gives a pretty decent impression where there's a lot of things that I need to learn, and then there's a lot of things about the game in contrast to Legends that are really different. Something you will note is this is a double carrier game, and that's going to come into play at the very end, and it's going to suck real hard. Little spoiler. But yeah, Pensacola, very fragile ship, and on PC there is plus minus 2 tier matchmaking, so we are facing tier 8 in this game. Now there's Magi, there is a Massachusetts, and a whole lot of not fun things to be facing when you're in Pensacola. And something that's really difficult about the PC version is obviously keyboard. I've never really used keyboard before, so you can see me here trying to back up, and I'm kind of struggling because my hands just, the muscle memory just isn't there. And I have no range on any of these targets, and I have no cover to even get me close, so I was trying to back up and try to maybe get some shots on the cruiser going into the middle cap there. And man, honestly, like, I've played, I think, around 40 battles so far, and I'm moving at a pretty fast pace. I've done fairly well, all things considered. But God, it is so different. I don't know if any of you guys watching have played it, or if you played both, or whatever. But it's definitely fun. I've actually been enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would, even with carriers. I would say past about tier 5 or so, tier 5 and up, I've been in carrier games probably 90% of the time. I've only run into double CVs twice, I believe, and while it seems bad, there's a lot of, since it's 12v12, there's a lot more targets for the CVs to go after, so I haven't been harassed too hard. I think most of that is basically because I'm not really putting myself in positions that are very easy for the CV to single me out, or CVs, but that will come later when there's less players in the match. And not that I'm going to be talking like a pro, because I think I'm probably pretty decent at this game, just knowing the mechanics and at least just playing safe. I am nowhere near as good as I am here as I am on Legends. There's just so much more to take in. There is literally danger everywhere, and especially when you're in a Pensacola, everything can pretty much just have their way with you. So playing it really patient, and something that I've learned is the beginning of the games usually start out very slow. Obviously, with this reduced range, I can't really do much, and if I try to force damage or force plays, especially with most of these ships out of my range, it's just going to end very badly. So the battle doesn't really pick up till about halfway through, where we're kind of forced to move and I kind of get tired of waiting at this cap circle and trying to play this island because I don't have the range. I have no DPM here. I have nothing. There's nothing I can do. There's no DD close to the cap. And speaking of DDs, good grief, there is. It's actually really, really nice being able to see the destroyers because their detection isn't just absolutely bonkers like it is on Legends. That being said, they are still really strong, but I think one of the biggest things that's getting me in PC is there's so many ships that I have no idea what they are and what they can do to me, especially playing Omaha. They were ships that I've never seen before, and I had no idea what their capabilities were, how to play against them, all that kind of stuff. So while I think I played Omaha overall better than I played Pensacola, there definitely was some hard learning times in that ship, and honestly, my controller keybind, or not my controller, my keybinds on it. Oh god, it took me at least a full 2 hours to figure out just the bare minimum keybinds for the game, and it's kind of frustrating because I've never really done something like that before. But basically, how I have it set up is for the absolute bare minimum. And since I'm playing USN cruisers, you really only focus on the guns and the positioning for the most part. So we're making do. And speaking of making do, the commander system. God, the grind is real. The grind is absolutely real. How they have it in PC, and forgive me if I make any mistakes. Obviously, you could make an argument for this video that I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I admit that. The commander system is kind of a crazy grind. So what happens, let's say, using an Omaha, and you have a commander selected for it. When you unlock the Pensacola, you can't transfer that commander over. Or at least, I think if you do, it resets the commander level to level 1, and you have to grind the commander again, and that that can be pretty painful. Now there is an option, I believe, at tier 5 and above to pay 900,000 credits to start your commander out at level 6, which level 6 gets you basically the first 3 tiers of the skill, but what you're really missing out on and what it takes is a 10-point captain, which allows you to get concealment expert, which is the minus 10% concealment that we know as a mod on Legends, and God almighty is a 10-point captain and concealment expert really valuable in this game, because when a lot of ships outrange you, especially with the different match, the higher tier matchmaking, all that kind of stuff, it's really, especially with Omaha, I never got concealment expert just because I grinded through the ship faster than my commander, and I believe my detection was in the 13-kilometer area, which is really bad, especially with a ship as vulnerable as Omaha. You get spotted out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh god, I'm in a very bad spot. And I think at around a 10-point captain, you can really start really figuring out how to play, but getting to that spot and having to regrind the commanders for each ship is pretty rough. So like right now, in the last couple games that I've played in New Orleans, I started out at a tier or a level 6 captain, so I'm at a higher tier without concealment expert, and it really hurts because there's a possibility for me to play against tier 9 ships. And let me tell you, it can definitely not be fun when you're in those situations. But if I'm being completely honest, and I apologize for the very squeaky chair, it hasn't really been too big of an issue as long as your positioning is good. It really doesn't matter the tier, or I guess it doesn't matter as much if your position is good, what tier ships you're facing. Because like I had a New Orleans game, and while it was a tier higher than me for the most part, it was a tier 8 game majority. Um, I played somewhat safe behind islands, but I was in places where I could use my DPM, and over the course of the battle, it really worked out pretty well. And that's definitely something I've learned to do in PC. Is since the games are longer, there's more ships. Having having HP at the end of the last 10 minutes is very important. You really don't want to be careless in the first 10 minutes because the latter part of the game is definitely where you can actually start doing things like ships are now in range. I can actually start using my guns, and it just takes time for people to push in and the game to kind of get going. So realize that there is a DD. Something that is really enjoyable in this game is blind firing is actually it's so much easier on PC. Wow, I'm not the best at it yet, but it is so much better with a mouse because you can be a lot more precise, and I've honestly been really enjoying that aspect of it because as soon as a DD smokes up, if you're paying attention, you can usually get that next salvo off and almost guarantee a hit or something. Something you'll notice is that I am running DFAA, which is going to come in very important, but that also means that I gave up Hydro, so having a Hydro here would have been definitely much more preferred than having DFAA. And first set of torps go by, and I assume that he's going to come out this way, and we think we have him dead rights here, but we don't. That was very unfortunate because what this really allows this guy to do, and he's already shot his torpedoes, but I don't know that yet, but it tempts me to swing out more broadside to where he was shooting his torps, and I end up eating this one here. So if we would have killed him, I would have turned in a lot sooner. So unfortunate, but killed the DD. We're just doing as much as we can, honestly. When I play this PC version, I'm just trying to have fun. I'm trying to get a different feel of the game that I came to enjoy on Legends. Trying to get some decent gameplays and honestly get to Des Moines as somewhat efficiently as possible, so I can see if the U.S. in DACA is real. And honestly, from what I've seen for New Orleans, I've actually really been enjoying the New Orleans, which is a ship that I did not like on Legends. On Legends, I prefer the Pensacola, and I don't know why, but here, New Orleans just feels so much better. And I guess the biggest thing is turret traverse, obviously for Pensacola, is really bad, and that stays the same here. But when you have the turret layout from which it's going to stay from the New Orleans forward, it just feels like you can kind of play that like USN Island Campy playstyle a little bit more effectively. And you're going to see my aim here kind of suck. That's another thing, is aiming is definitely something that you have to practice, and it takes quite a bit of time. My first couple games are usually very rough, and I end up missing out on a lot of very crucial salvos, especially versus DDs. I just haven't played the game long enough to really get that consistent and pinpoint aim. Something that I will say though is it's really nice not having the auto aim that's on Legends, and something that I've really noticed is I see people miss shots a lot more often. Obviously, I miss a lot more shots too, but it goes both ways, and where it makes juking shells a little bit easier because it's not like people actually have to pay attention to where you're going, your speed, all that kind of stuff. and it's been nice. I've been able to avoid a lot more than I thought I would. And this is kind of where the double CV action really starts to kick in. And while we do have DFAA, we do a pretty decent job against the planes. Um, this kind of harassment is pretty annoying, to say the least. And again, with the Bismarck, I'm in a Pensacola. He's 2 tiers higher than me, but I'm using islands in a way that he can't shoot me. So the big, scary tier 8 can't really do anything if he can't hit me. And I'm keeping most of my DPM on him at the same time. Trying to aim for his upper belt, but not getting too much for that last solo there. Something I will note is the citadels in this game feel much, much better, at least for cruisers. I've only played this line, again, I have 30, around 40 games now. So what I will say is I feel like there are a lot more overpins for cruisers in Legends. I don't know what it is, but there's been some times with Pensacola that I've hit some citadels that actually feel like, hey, yeah, I aimed for a citadel and I hit citadels. And on Legends, you can do that all day, and you just get overpins, and it's super frustrating. Like, for instance, one of my last streams, I was facing a Dallas or whatever, and whenever I face a Dallas, I almost always get overpins. It's just, for me, an extremely difficult ship to actually Citadel. I was in the Pensacola, not this match, but it was an earlier match in the Pensacola, and I took a shot against the Dallas at like 13 kilometers or so with AP, and he was turning out. I let him as good as I could, and I actually ended up having a really good salvo, and I like double or triple citadeled him and deleted him, and I was like, man, that felt so good to citadel a light cruiser. And I don't know what it is, but I have really been enjoying the AP on the cruiser game. It feels like, for the most part, if you aim for the citadel at the right distances and you have the penetration, you get citadels. I don't know about battleships, but this is where the double C the double CV meme comes into play, and I'm trying to stay hidden from the big scary battleship, but I have to keep moving because I don't want to be a sitting duck for all these carriers. And it's weird. It's weird. It doesn't feel like there's much I can do. Obviously, as the game goes on, there's less ships to prioritize. Carriers will get stronger, and essentially, since there's 2 of them, there's really nothing we can do to win this game. Spoilers, if you couldn't tell already, this ends in a loss. But overall, like, the first half of the game was very boring, and I couldn't do much sheerly because the lack of island cover, the lack of people pushing, and just the lack of range that I have on this ship. But the second half, once the game gets going, it's actually really, really enjoyable. And for the most part, I've actually really, like, honest to God, really been enjoying it. It's a different take on Legends, what I've played, and I'm actually really excited to get the higher tier ships. Baltimore looks really, really fun on here. Buffalo looks pretty fun as well, and then obviously the Des Moines. But right here, obviously, we're just trying to duck and dodge and just do as much as we can to just stay alive. The DFAA actually does feel nice, and we also have the fighter planes to deter the CVs as well. But there's really not much we can do. We're down on points. There's no point in trying to go cap. Basically, we would have to, I think, kill a CV here, which we actually do get close. Have the AP loaded because the only chance that we have of winning this game would to be citadeling and dealing massive damage. So might as well have the AP loaded. Get a pretty decent chunk, but when you have very, very low health and you don't have any more DFA charges, there's really not much you can do. So I take a desperate shot here and just try my best to stay alive, honestly, and get another decent chunk, pick up the Confederate as well. and take one last shot, but the time is going to expire. So guys, overall, I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie, I am enjoying this game for what it is. I guess it's because I'm not like completely invested. You know, it's kind of like a side hobby, and it's pretty fun. Not too bad. We finished top on the team, 1400. I'll take it. And that was pretty much just from the second half. So positioning, still key. Um, Honestly, I'm excited, guys. Let me know if you want me to do some more videos. I kind of would like to make some just to give my impressions on the PC, the bigger version. Subs are coming out soon, I think, and I'm not really looking forward to that. Kind of just want a classic WoW's feel, but we'll deal with it. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for the video. Let me know what you think, and if you'd like to see me maybe cover a little bit more PC ships if I get the time to grind them. But that is it, guys. Y'all take it easy. Have a good one. Peace.